All right, welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. Now, the show is interactive. We do want to hear from you. We know that some of you are watching us on social media, and so use the hashtag Breakfast Daily for us to hear what you're saying. This particular next conversation that we're going to get into, we do want to hear your thoughts on this. 0550585832. It's the WhatsApp line that we're using, and do send us a message as the story goes on and you have your thoughts you want to share. We definitely want to hear from you. But the next story is regarding this incident in Nkoranza. We'll play for you a quick report that we have, and then we'll come back and then we'll delve into some of the nitty-gritties and the situation as it is so far. Let's take a look at this report from our colleague, colleague Michael Infum.
Nkoranza is relatively calm today following the clash between some angry youth in the community and that of the police following the death of a businessman, 27-year-old Albert Donkor. The clash resulted in the burning of tires on the street of Nkoranza. There's heavy police presence in the community who are here to ensure that lives and properties are protected. During yesterday's clash, some vehicles parked at the premises of the Nkoranza Municipal Police Headquarters had their screens smashed by the angry youth. The head of education, research and training at the Ghana Police Service, ASP Alexander Obin, has been briefing the media.
The arrival of the team this morning, inspection has been done, and police personnel of the jurisdiction in Nkoranza who were attacked yesterday have also been interacted with, because the personnel welfare is also critical to Ghana Police Service, and in particular their families. We are also aware the team have also been to the St. Teresa's Catholic Hospital and has visited the patients who were injured in the course of the attack yesterday. So far, on the Wednesday, 8 of them were taken dead, 1 passed on, 2 have been treated and discharged. There are 5 currently dead. I can also say that those who engage in this despicable attack, 5 of them were arrested. We also recall that in the course of the attack, some suspects who were in custody escaped. 1 of them have been captured. The rest are being pursued for recapture into lawful custody.
The Bono East Regional Minister, Kwesi Edujan, has also been speaking on the issue.
Yesterday, for example, at the time this incident happened, the youth leaders were at a meeting with us, with me and other exec meeting members, to present their petition. From Friday, I asked them that they should pencil down all their grievances, whatever issues that they have, whatever problems that they think led to that. They should pencil it down as a petition and bring it to me. With that, we're able to hold them for 3 days. We tasked them that, no, don't go out. Don't fight anything. Just follow the process, the due process, because if we follow the due process, we should be able to get justice for that young guy. So sit down and then carve out your petition. And then present your petition to me. I will present your petition to the Minister for National Security for them to look at it. So as at the time, 4, 5 o'clock, we were with them, the leaders, waiting for the petition, one of their guys to bring the petition. When we heard that, they had invaded the police station. Okay. So we have not ruled out receiving their petition and presenting it to the authorities. What we saw yesterday, I see it as a mob action by criminal elements who wanted to disregard policies that were put in place to ensure peace and order in that place, who were not happy with the peaceful process, but rather wanted to disrupt the whole process. So I look at this as a criminal act, which must be looked at as such. So once we treat these people as criminals, we should also look at getting the justice that that gentleman, Albert Donkor, deserves.
Despite what transpired yesterday between the Nkoranza youth and the police, shop owners within the municipality have opened their shops, going about their normal duties, and they have been telling me why they've opened their shops today. We know of the incident that happened yesterday. Why have you opened your shop today?
Actually, I normally come to shop around 6, but due to what happened last night, I even closed earlier before my normal time due to what was happening. So I got up this morning and I realized situations were somehow coming. I said, let me come and start my normal business.
Means slow because of say now they who say boys not coming down. Boys thinking I will be out if I don't know what happened to the but I no pay the system no down because the police for no town be boys thinking coming down now. Me you more prepared yet. Until me buy no pay me back to school. Me nem back to school buy no me hear the system city no. Na say meet my adwuma.
Means slow. Means slow minim san Nkoranza ha no. Boys no assumption ne ma omo edi sa adwuma no boys no nye kitikiti sa Nkoranza de ha dwopa enti mensuro me de minim se kura yi bibia mo ba ha mu hu se bibia sa asi e wo ha na nora no na de na emu odin na e assumption akura no kwan ya omo fa su kunu no na omo pa temtene se be ya omo be kan ma ya hu se bia akura no yakuno anaya ya ne sei ya hwa ye hu hwe eni ama na kuroma ya manyamanya boys no mo ani ampere.
Mother of the 19-year-old student of the Nkoranza Technical Institute, Victor Kwajowusu, who was hit by a stray bullet and pronounced dead on arrival at the St. Teresa's Hospital, Acqua, has been speaking to City News on how she received the message on the death of her son.
So no parme my boy is on school. To free school by upon an old sana. You know, pay my baku. You know about Kubiaka baby. Now, Omoya yesterday. No call. Oko one is a person for no to two. At Yagu. See, I have friend of Victor also.
All right, so that's a report from the Nkoranza area. Very, very troubling, heartbreaking, very troubling. But our colleague Michael Infum, the correspondent who brought the report, is on the line. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yes, how are you doing today?
Oh, doing very, very well.
Okay, and generally, what's the mood in Nkoranza this morning?
Thank you very much. Nkoranza is very calm. Just as yesterday, people are going about their normal duty, shops are open, and everything is very calm here in Nkoranza.
Okay, so as far as the updates are concerned, of course, we know that there are varying stories as to what has transpired, with Albert, and then of course subsequently also with Victor. But what's the update now? What are people saying on the ground? Because the police have their statement, the family has their statement. What do people in Nkoranza generally believe and feel?
People have varied opinions according to them, especially the youth of Nkoranza. According to them, the information put up by the police is not the truth, and the police are also saying what is put up is also the truth. So there are varied opinions from these two quarters, but they are just waiting patiently for what will transpire. But what is a little bit worrying is that yesterday, during the press briefing by the police, they never spoke about the actual issue. They only spoke about a crisis that happened about 3 days ago in Nkoranza. And as journalists, we're not allowed even to ask questions. So that's a little bit worrying, because we are there to find out after meeting with the top security in the Bunu East region. At least we expected something.
Yeah.
The Albert Donkor issue. But nothing of that sort was said. What they spoke about was only the distraction that took place in Nkoranza, especially at the Nkoranza Municipal Police Station.
Right, Michael, do we still have heavy security presence in the community?
Yes, they are. A lot of police personnel. I've not seen any military, but the police are here in their numbers.
So what is the mood like? You know, is it that people are afraid because there's policemen all over the place, or they feel that, right, so we staged our protest, we've put out our concerns, and now life is back to normal?
So it be difficult to say as what really the issue on the ground is. But people are just going about their normal duties. People are opening their shop. Even as at yesterday, people opening their shop. We saw the people I spoke to yesterday. They believe that there's calmness in the community, so they can continue with their businesses. So everything is very calm. We are hoping that it will be sustained in the Nkoranza municipality.
Would you say that the regional minister coming out to comment on the issue has helped in a way?
I'm sure, because yesterday they met with the top security, and I know they've deliberated on many issues as how they will be able to sustain the peace in the area. I know the regional minister is also inviting the youth to pencil down their challenges and also bring to him so that they will work on it.
So after this engagement, have you heard anything from the family, from the MP, who is also an uncle to Albert?
For now, we've not heard anything from him. But we heard from the mother of the deceased, that's a 19-year-old Victor.
Yes.
She's also calling for justice.
And how about the people who have been injured? How are they faring now?
They are doing well. They are recuperating there. They're in Terry's hospital.
Right. Thank you very much, Michael. We'll come back to you should need be.
Thank you very much, Emma.
Right, so that was Michael Saponufum, who is our Bono regional correspondent, updating us on happenings in Nkoranza. Now, I've been joined in the studio by our parliamentary correspondent, Duke Mensah Opoku. Good morning, Duke.
Morning.
You are looking like an MP by the day. Every day, you know, your look as an MP goes up. You know, any plans to be in future an MP, especially now you're doing law as well?
Everything is in the hands of God.
Now you sound like a politician. You understand? You are just cut out for the job.
Everything is in. We give glory and thanks to God and hope that His plans for our life materialize.
But you look well. The system is working.
System is working.
You look well, you know.
Have you heard outside gentility home cry? Have
you
heard that before? What outside gentility home cry?
No, you don't look it. Anyway, Duke. So this story of Albert Donkor has been developing. What do you make of everything that has happened so far?
For me, I cringe when I think about the Ghana Police Service that I grew up knowing. Had this. Growing up, we had this impression of the police service that Ghana police guard. I mean, they are not dangerous. That's the perception we grew up with.
Yeah, the police is supposed to be your friend.
I mean, with a certain mental picture of that policeman in the white uniform or white and black helping children to cross the road. That's the kind of picture we, I mean, growing up we had of the police. And my grandfather's house used to be a place where some police officers, the CID and co, used to live.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So
wow.
yes, in Mampong school, some of the rooms in my grandfather's house, police used to live there in school. Those who know. So, I mean, we grew up talking to the likes of Abani, who was a CID guy, and the rest. So it was not something that you grew up knowing them, and the only difference was that they were in uniform and you were not. Played with their kids and that kind of thing. But for the past few years, increasingly, it's becoming. Started with this issue, I mean, in recent times, started with this issue of the Nkoranza matter. Then, as I want to say, then issues like that started coming up to the point where now we have policemen engaged in armed robbery.
Yeah.
This Adedempo matter, which has still not even been brought to a certain conclusion.
Yeah.
Found that there are actually policemen involved. And, you know,
which I think for some people it's not surprising though, because it's almost as if undercurrents have been felt by people. So it's not something that you have evidence to show per se, but people kind of sort of felt and knew that this was going on.
Yes, and I mean, even to add to that, there was this instance of one of our senior journalists, Napoleon Atukito, telling us about how a policeman at gunpoint took him to the ATM and asked him to withdraw money for him at a certain point. That's plain robbery. I mean,
no, but I have been, stopped, and it was a policewoman. My car was taken to Kaneshi police station. She asked me to write something. I did it, and she said, "But you have to give me something." She made me leave my car to go to Achimota. I didn't even know where the ATM was. And I'm saying this, yes. She asked me to leave my car there, go to, and you see sometimes the frustration. So I went to Kaneshi Commercial Bank, ATM. She directed me, when you get here, ask the people that you're looking for the ATM. Yes, I came back, I wrote everything. And sometimes the difficulty is, it's difficult for you to pursue such cases. Who are you going to tell? You understand? Because whoever is there, because there were other people there and nobody seemed worried. I was actually at a point like, oh, madam, but I've written my things. Well, person called they are. Yes, and this happened. And this is police.
It raises several questions. For me, it's sad that we have our police. The inconsistency of the communication from the police service. And yesterday I spoke to the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, James Agaga, who has been Deputy Minister for Interior before. And he was plain and blunt and said, it's a cover-up. And I asked him, I told him, that's a very serious statement to make.
Almost like a rash
for you
statement.
to say that this whole thing is a cover-up. And then he goes to say that if you look at the inconsistencies in the police's report and their communication, it can only point to a cover-up. To the point that now, it looks like the authorities have found a safe haven in the riots. That now they are not talking about the demand for justice. It's the riots that they are talking about. This raised a number of issues. One, the fundamental issue that the Ghana Police Service must avert its mind to is the issue of training. How are our policemen trained, recruited and trained? What kind of due diligence is done in about their background? Because these are the Dempo people who were arrested. One of them was thrown out of 3 different senior high schools. 3.
Okay.
No one, not 2, 3.
Speaks to problems with character.
Yes. 3. So you ask yourself how that person found himself in the police service.
But you know something, Duke? I think that in this country, the sectors that require extra diligence, that require we working meticulously, in terms of recruitment, are rather the areas where we really don't pay attention. Security, health, education. So everybody finishes senior high school, they want to go to the university, they do not get admission to the university, and then they decide that, okay, then let me go to nursing or teacher training or security. You get it? So these people do not want to be security people.
But it's a very bizarre way
even if you know, for me, I don't have a problem if people decide to take that. My issue is that there has been a point in time in this country where if you wanted to be a police officer, if you wanted to enter the army, due diligence was conducted.
Exactly.
Officers went back to your school to check your file to determine your suitability to be in the service or not.
Yeah.
The question is, has that practice stopped? What has changed? What has changed? Has that practice stopped? Why do we let all sorts of characters get into the training? And this is, I mean, people go into the police training recruitment when they are 18, 19, over 20. At that point in time where their character has already been formed.
Oh, yeah.
So they are
So
who
the
they
person
are.
is a
You
criminal.
know. You
know.
He has
They have
acquired all the
records.
traits
Yeah.
and has
Exactly.
records and all those things before they get in there. It's not the 6 months or the 18 months training that you are going to put them through that will change them. It will rather make them
Exactly.
refined,
You know? So
refined, or even give them
Empowered.
much more skills,
Yeah,
and give them legitimacy
So
to be
with
able to
this,
do what
with
they are
this
doing.
Albert Donkor issue, all right? I mean, we all live in communities. We know people, you know, and it is not everybody who would find themselves in this kind of situation that the whole community will get up and fight for
Yeah,
you. So
it's
it
true.
also tells on who the person
Who is.
you know,
Yeah.
because sometimes issues happen. I know that, oh, but this guy,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, when the Nima clash occurred,
Yeah.
we had names and
Yeah.
people mentioned
People
that,
that
okay,
come, they know
these
them.
They know
people,
them.
this is what they do.
Yeah.
Every day they do this. So
Yeah.
it is not surprising. But when something like this happens and you have a whole community
Community rising to the
you know, to
defense.
protest that
And
this
protest.
is not an armed robber.
Robber.
We know this gentleman. At least we should also pay attention to some of these things.
Yeah, so that's the first thing I would say. Secondly, it looks like, I mean, from what has happened in times past, the police administration doesn't care about these things.
They don't?
Of course.
Even under the current administration of the
They
IGP?
haven't. This is the first test case for him. This is his test case because the Aswasi matter didn't happen under him.
Yeah.
Of course, the Adedenpo issue happened under him.
Yeah.
In terms of when the people were
Yeah.
rounded up, but even the ability of the police to round its own up in relation to that, we will say that's a feather in his cap.
Yeah.
But the issues where people run into issues or challenges with the police, and yesterday there was someone even on social media who also recounted the story that the dad apparently chanced on policemen engaged in such an illegality. The policemen later came to round him up as a criminal, and the person was found dead, and the lady has not found closure. This is something that was shared by Edem Agbana on his social media. So that's
Yeah.
the NDC
No, so-
deputy youth organizer.
Yeah.
So people have all sorts of stories, and these stories are coming together and denting the credibility of the police. The IGP must do something about it. But for me, the core of it, the police must go back to its old days, where due diligence and proper checks were conducted on recruits before they get in. You can't have people with all sorts of characters. And it comes back to the politicians.
Yeah.
Oh, every politician,
That's really
a
what it
policeman,
is.
mommy 2 slots, police
Yeah.
service, mommy 1 slot, mommy 4 slots.
Yeah.
Taking all sorts of characters into our security services without any background checks or anything. And some of these people are even bold during campaign to say that me constituency, I mean, the Nipa Bay 15 area police.
You are right. Yep. And you see,
They say it.
In an era where we are looking at people should volunteer information, the police is your friend. Now, if I witness something and I come and say it,
then
and it leads to something else.
Execution.
You get where I'm coming from? How do people get the confidence to go to the police and say that, okay, I know David has done something wrong? Because you're even afraid that, what if the information gets back to David? What would happen?
So
No, I mean, I wanna
apart from checking the recruitment, I think it's also about time that we have an independent police investigations board. Independent. It can be for all the security because the PIPs, it has been there since PIPs at least. One famous police officer was sent there. That's how I go to now. They even have a professional standards and what bureau there. But in a matter where police officers are complicit, you expect them to do a thorough job. What happens to conflict of interest? It's something that the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative has been asking for a very long time. So this morning I add my voice to that of Mina Mensah, Minokwe and the rest at the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative to demand that with all that is happening, it's important we have an independent security investigations board in the country. Let us put one together. Even if we want to add that to responsibility of Shrach, let's do it. So that some of these things will be properly investigated, we get closure, the recommendations will then form the basis for turning around our police service. Because for me, the police service is the security arm that we have the most contact with.
Yeah.
Not customs, not immigration,
of course.
not the military.
Yeah.
It's even now that the military, well, I don't want to go there. They are,
Don't try.
Yeah, so the point is
Yeah.
that it's about time we need to rethink the police service. And if there is someone who is well placed to do this, it's our current IGP, very well educated, very well versed in the policing. He's been to almost all. I remember he at a point in time when he was moved from Greater Accra, he was sent to be the commandant of the training college in Winneba. Yes, so he understands, and he was welfare at a point in time, finance at a point in time. So it looks like he's been through all, and he's been commander, so he has operational, experience under his belt. So he knows all the facets of the police service. So IGP Dampare, doctor, please, there were people who were skeptical during your appointment.
Yeah.
There were some of us who defend. I remember I was amongst a number of police stations in Parliament when the appointment came and I was jubilating. And some of them didn't understand why.
Why were you jubilating?
Because this is somebody I have known or have had close contact with since his days at the Greater Accra, Regional Command as a commander. And we all like, oh, Dampare, the way he's
a man of good standing.
A man of good standing, the way he relates to people, even the way he caught the guy who killed the MP, which has also become another matter. I asked him, that in court, the JV Dankwa matter. And so when I was jubilating, the police, there are some of them who plainly told me that they are not happy that he was being brought in. I thought that, the usual Ghana, because he's coming to ensure that things are done properly.
Yeah.
The people in the service are not happy. Please, let it not be that some of the things that you were doing was because you wanted to be confirmed.
Yeah.
Mr. IGP, this is a test case for you. We beg you.
And you see, with the way things are going, my only concern is we've preached mob injustice. We don't want to get back to that situation where people will lose confidence in the police. Yeah. And so when issues like this happen in communities, they take the laws into their own hands. We don't need this, So I think that the police has a lot to do to defend their integrity, especially in this situation.
Look at what happened to Sanda.
Exactly.
So
Can you imagine?
These days when I'm approaching a police checkpoint, I'm very careful and chill. Like I'm trying to find out how I'm not going to get into some form of confrontation or problem, because they can just do whatever they want to do to you. The next one they dump you somewhere and say you were an armed robber or you were
because remember the Manson contact.
Yes.
So a friend of mine.
That's exactly the point I've been making all morning.
A friend of mine, just by the way, before we go on break, a friend of mine who's a security operative told me years ago that there's the services, they have a code word, that they use among themselves as a friendly code word. I won't put it out here, but so when you approach any police or military, whatever, and use the code word, it's like a brother man who doesn't look like a brother man has arrived on the scene.
So I'm one of you.
I said, just about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
You used it?
No, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I decided to start using it just to see whether it's true or not. My goodness.
It does.
It works like magic.
Hey!
Magic.
Show us the way.
Brother.
But like I said,
behind closed doors, I'm your brother. No, because
I'm telling you, I was amazed at they were flagging every single car down and checking. As soon as I approached the guy, he's flagged me down. I rolled down my window where he was standing. I used the code where he said, "Hey, brother, continue." Yeah, simple as that.
That's simple.
The beginning of corruption.
No, because the corrupt and the corruptee.
All I said was hello.
Really?
In their language. That's all.
So the corrupt and the corruptee are all guilty. You know that. IGP, good morning. You have heard David. This is the breakfast daily. But use a 13. So means of transaction is not only cash. Means of transaction is not only cash. You understand? Anyway, this is breakfast daily. We'll be right back.